So we have been on the road for just over 2 months now.
Yep.
And we are currently in Treen Farm campsite, which is a really nice part of the world that we really like being down here. It's just sort of near Land's End, just a few miles around from the coast from that.
It's got some really amazing beaches around here and some pretty good coastal walks and things like that, hasn't it? So yeah, so we've just been chilling at home for a few days, and we just thought it might be a good opportunity to sort of run through how everything's going so far.
Yeah.
We're Tim and Abby, and we converted our Ford Transit into a fully off-grid campervan. We're now enjoying life on the road, so join us for some adventures as we travel around the UK and beyond.
So yeah, generally, how has it been overall, do you think?
It has been really nice overall. I've really enjoyed it. We've been travelling around the whole south coast of Cornwall to get to this point, so we're sort of like the furthest you can get in the country at the moment. And yeah, I found it really natural actually.
Yeah, it's been really, really amazing and relaxing. Just taking it slow, and I think we've both got very used to the lifestyle quite quickly.
Yeah,
haven't
that's
we?
actually a nice part. They're taking it slow. If it's been bad weather, we've just kind of stayed in the van, or we've gone into town somewhere, less around here because we're quite far away at the moment, but we've gone into Penzance and been to the cinema and things like that. And when it's been a nice day, we've just been able to go out and enjoy that. So yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah, I think we've been staying mostly at campsites at the moment because in Cornwall it's difficult to find anywhere to park that's not in a campsite. There are places, but we kind of feel like we're transitioning slowly into the van lifestyle, aren't we?
Probably doing about maybe 80% campsites,
something like that. And there are the odd car parks we can stay overnight, so that's been pretty good too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what is the best and worst thing for you about being in the van?
Best and worst. So probably the best is just kind of the freedom that it gives you. Just being able to just park up in lots of really nice places. I don't know. It's just you can take your house anywhere, isn't it?
It is nice to do that. I think I definitely agree on the best. The flexibility of just being able to travel around with everything that we have with us is just, it's really good. We don't have to worry about packing up, apart from like putting a few things away, obviously, when we're driving. We just move the van and you open the door, and the first thing we do is turn on the gas and then make a cup of tea, and then
it's all right there, ready to go, isn't it? Yeah.
Some of the places that we've been able to stay, without a van you just wouldn't be able to experience those places. Waking up and just being like right by the sea, which was really nice.
Yeah.
The downside is if you just want to nip somewhere to go like get some groceries or something, you obviously have to take the van, take your whole house with you, and park it in obviously a space which is not quite big enough.
But it's not really been so annoying as to get really tedious. It's just one of the things you kind of have to get used to.
It's just a trade-off, yeah.
And then the worst thing, I think, it's not even really a bad thing, but it's just doing things like finding places to wash your clothes, and just being more mindful about your resources, I suppose.
The laundrette is probably one of the biggest little annoyances actually.
Yeah.
And in fact, this campsite we're on now, it's a really nice campsite, one of the ones we've really enjoyed, and they've actually got a really good industrial washing machine, so we were like, oh, it's great, we can do all of our washing in that, but it is just broken down. So
so that's the thing, the only closest one apart from this one is somewhere in Penzance, which is a 25-minute drive away. So
so doing those kind of chores are a lot harder in the van because obviously you don't just have a washing machine ready for you. We do have a little scrubber bag which we haven't actually used yet. That's more for like emergency use. And I'd say the other sort of annoying one is having to empty the grey water. That is probably the one thing that happens the most frequently, that means we have to go back to somewhere where they've got some kind of civilization, finding somewhere to dump that. We make sure we put it somewhere we're actually supposed to put it, which is, for us actually, our grey water is filtered anyway, so there's no solids really that make their way into there. It's just sort of soapy water, but we still like to find somewhere to do that. And like Abby said, around here, other than campsites, there isn't really any facilities to do that, and even among the campsites it's a bit hit and miss, the grey waste. I think we've only found maybe 2 or 3 in the ones we've been to quite a few now, They actually have a drive over one. That's like the luxury.
Yeah, a dedicated grey water one.
Just drive in, open the tap, chill out for a few minutes, and it's just done.
Yeah.
Most of the time we have to decant it into a container and get rid of it, and sometimes we just can't get rid of it, so we end up carrying around a big heavy tank under the van. You have to be a little bit more aware of it in the van because everything's not just on tap, obviously. I mean, we have water on tap, but the water needs refilling, so just trying to get every last drop out of it.
Yeah.
And turning on the tap like really small amount, so it literally drops are coming out to make sure you don't waste anything.
That's good though.
It is good. Yeah.
Well, it saves water, definitely.
Just things like that, which you don't have to do in a house. I actually quite enjoy doing that though. It's sort of it's like a reset period when you have to go and top up everything and dump everything. It's actually quite a nice moment, but it is something that you have to go and do.
You have to kind of pre-plan it a little bit, don't you? Otherwise you get a bit stuck.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not too bad at the moment because we're on campsites a lot of the time, but I think when we're off-grid that'll become something which we just have to get used to.
Yeah.
What we think is quite good is that because we've started living in the van in England, obviously England is quite well known for not being that campervan friendly, is it?
Although we've really enjoyed it.
I mean, we have enjoyed it, but it's just not set up for campervan living like it is in Europe. So we think that we're kind of starting ourselves off in the deep end, and hopefully, when we go and other places, we'll just find it a lot easier. I'm hoping.
Although I'd say that Cornwall is probably a little bit easier, maybe think about it because there's so many campsites around.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're happy to do that. If you didn't want to stay in campsites, then it's a lot more restricted.
And obviously I think during the winter would be hard down here as well because a lot of campsites would close. So obviously we are here in the summer.
Yeah.
So what has worked, do you think?
Van-wise, pretty much everything has worked out really well. Really happy with it. It's really comfy to be in the van. It genuinely feels to me like it's home now.
Yeah, I think we're really happy that we made the decision to go for the half sliding bed.
Yeah. The bigger problem is actually getting up in the morning because it's so comfy on the bed.
We've got quite thick mattresses and they are 12 centimetres each, and during the day they stack on top of each other.
We wondered whether that was too thin when we were ordering it because it sounds ridiculous. You're getting a mattress for your house and it's like this thick. And we're getting one that's 12 centimetres, but for us at least it's fine. I almost wonder if we could have actually gone a tiny bit thinner and gone with 10 centimetres.
Probably, I think.
Which would have just given us a bit more headspace when we're sitting on the bed when it's like this, so when the two are on top of each other. But actually, even that's been fine. So just now we were watching a programme on Netflix, and Abby was sitting up here and I was sitting down here, and we had the laptop on our table, so that worked really well.
I think that was one thing that we hoped would work, but we weren't ever entirely sure, were we, whether that kind of setup was going to work because we didn't want the faff of having to put away a bed, take off all the sheets and duvets and put them in the storage, did we? But we also didn't want the fixed bed because we wanted somewhere to be able to sit down.
The hybrid.
Yeah. So and I think it's actually
I think we got it pretty good for us. It had to be like best of both worlds. So we've got storage, but we do obviously have to do something to make the bed, but we wanted it to be the least faff possible.
And it's very quick,
and
isn't it?
Abby's quicker at it than me, probably because she's done it a few more times. But yeah, she can put it up and down in no time. And same for me really, it doesn't take long. And it's really usable during the day and night, so it's worked out really good. And then having these bench seats has been really nice. And the table area, we put that in so quickly at the end, we're rushing to get everything done. And it was one of those last projects we've been putting off for ages. And unlike a lot of the projects in the van where we've researched it a lot and spent a lot of time thinking about how it's going to work, the table was just like...
it on, didn't we?
Yeah, it's basically we've got to do it now. We've got limited time. It's just got to go in. It's going there. Hopefully it'll work. And it's worked really good.
Really, really nicely.
Yeah, the swivel is perfect. So we sometimes sit opposite each other if we're eating food, or right now we're sitting both on the bench seat and we've got the camera on the table. And we do that if we're watching a movie or something, or if just one person, like Fabi's getting ready in the morning, she'll sit here and do her makeup and dry hair and stuff like that. So yeah, that's worked really good actually. And then when we're not using it, it just stows out the way. So
yeah, I think for a little bit we were a bit concerned that maybe we should have gone for a slide out one from under the bed, but that would have been fine. But I think actually this is a bit more versatile for us anyway. So how are the facilities working out?
So facilities-wise, we've got heating. I think it's working really good.
Yeah, we've got our Chinese diesel heater, which is working really nicely.
Perfect.
I mean, it's summer, so we haven't had to use it a huge amount, but when we do, it makes it really warm in here really quickly, and we can also vent into the shower to make it a drying room.
Yeah, we're using the drying room today actually, just to
dry out our towels.
Dry out the towels and things, and that's working really good.
Yeah.
And a lot of people wonder if it makes the van too hot when we have the heater on, because we obviously need it for our hot water if it hasn't been enough solar. But actually it's fine because we've got the shower door. When it's closed, you don't really feel the van heating up because the hot air just kind of stays in the shower and then goes out the fan and the roof. So that's really good.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd change anything with that. And we also have remote access to the heater, so I've been able to turn it on. If it's been a really miserable day and we've been out for a walk and we're all wet, soggy, you can turn it on like 15 minutes before you get back to the van and have it nice and toasty when you open the door.
It's really nice, yeah.
Which is great. That is a luxury, but a nice feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really nice. Because I get quite cold, don't I?
Yeah.
So it's always nice to come back to a nice warm van, which is good. In terms of things like cooking and with LPG, the LPG, we've got a, 30-litre tank.
Yeah. 24 litres of usable LPG.
So that's what we filled up at the start of the trip, and it's still going now. We're probably down towards the lower end of the gauge.
I'm just looking, the red light is on now. But it is fluctuating. Sometimes a few more lights come on depending on
it's not the
how
most
you're parked.
accurate thing in the world.
But we think there's still a few weeks left in there.
Yeah.
Probably.
So that's quite
not sure exactly.
Reassuring. Also because there's really not that many places to actually top up down here. I think there's 2 places in the entirety of Cornwall.
The good thing is it's cheap because we've got the refillable gas. Filling the entire tank is it's about £1 a litre, and it's about 20 quid-ish to do the whole tank, and that lasts for several months. And we've been cooking quite a lot, so we're using the kettle all the time, multiple times a day, including for Abby's hot water bottle in the evening. So that's probably boiling, maybe if we're in the van, like 4 or 5 cups of or kettle worth of water easily.
We are chain tea drinkers, aren't we? So.
And then we try and save some of the hot water for washing up and put it in flasks and things as well.
Yeah.
And then we're using the oven a fair amount too. Less the grill, although that has been handy, but using the oven like a fair amount actually.
We really like having gas hobs and a gas oven, don't we?
Yeah. Definitely.
Cooking has been great. We've managed to cook quite a lot of stuff. We've had croissants from the freezer and things like that, which have been really nice.
The nice thing about having the oven is that we haven't to change anything about how we would cook from when we were in our flat, which is really good.
We have to give more consideration though about how many utensils and pots and pans that we use because of the washing up and the water usage.
The washing up is one change.
Yeah, if you've got like pasta sauce and stuff like that, which is bright red or whatever, you don't want to stain anything. So it's just sort of
it's one thing we didn't do when we were in a house, when we were in a flat. Like I've said, if we have a pan that's a bit saucy, we basically get like a paper towel and wipe it out and put it in the bin first.
I think a few people do that.
Yeah,
seen.
In the house?
No, I mean in other campervans.
Took a little bit of time to get used to that, but sort of just comes naturally now. But it just saves that going down the waste pipe into the tank. But we do actually have filters on the waste for both the sink and the shower as well. So actually what's in the tank is nice and clean.
Yeah. In terms of water, we've got our 80-litre freshwater tank in the back of the van, and
which is great.
Which has been really, really good. There's only been one time I think we've completely run out, and that was when we couldn't be bothered to fill it up. Yeah, we couldn't be bothered to fill it up. We were on a campsite, and it was just too much faff to go and fill it up. And that's not been a problem at all, has it? So that's been quite nice.
Resource-wise, it's going well. Electric-wise, that's working really good actually. I think the lowest I've seen the batteries at the end of a day is around 35%.
Yeah.
And that's been when it's horrible weather, so they haven't been able to recharge much with solar, and we've been parked up for a few days.
Yeah, we didn't move at all, really, did we?
Yeah, and then as soon as we moved, or the sun came out, it actually tops up fairly quickly, so...
Yeah, I suppose we haven't done it in winter, so that will be one to find out about how that goes, but so far.
But worst case in that, if it's in winter and we don't have enough power, we can obviously drive, and we reckon we'll probably be driving a lot more when we're in winter. At the moment, we're sort of sitting in one place a bit longer because we're exploring the coast path and things like that. So,
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think at the moment it's working pretty good. I don't think we're going to have any problems, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
The kitchen is working really good.
Yeah.
Really happy with everything there.
Yeah.
And we've got enough storage for everything we need. So yeah, so far we haven't really missed anything, have we?
For the most part, we did pretty well in terms of what we packed, didn't we? And actually, being around each other 24/7.
You're going to say that's the worst one?
No, I was going to say, it's actually fine, isn't it? When we don't really get on each other's nerves.
Well, the nice thing about the van is we've got enough space that we have even though it's small, we have separate areas. So the seat by the door has been really nice for that, hasn't it?
Yeah, and also like if we need a little bit of alone time, Tim can go out for a run, and I have a bit of time on my own to do what I like, knitting or anything like that, really. So that's good.
I've come back to Abby knitting outside the van before. Knitting to the beach, didn't you? I think at some point.
I did at one point, yeah.
She made a hot water bottle cover, which is actually really good.
Yeah, let's not dwell on that. So yeah, what hasn't worked so well, do you think?
I would say the things that haven't worked so well are mostly the things that we just didn't quite finish off. So a few bits of storage we don't have in the kitchen. We have to keep, we don't have anywhere to put like the tea and oil and stuff like that, which is a little bit annoying because you have to get it out every time we have to put it away when we drive and get it out again.
There's the shelf above the headliner shelf above the cab over there, which
it's a bit of a mess.
Is a bit of a mess, and we'll be sorting that out, which hopefully shouldn't take very long.
Yeah.
And the walls of the shower, but we'll be finishing those off nicely. Yeah, obviously the biggest one is finishing our recirculating shower, which we actually will be doing within the next couple of weeks.
Hopefully. Watch this space.
So that does mean that we haven't really used the shower very much yet, have we? Although when we have, it's worked brilliantly. The only thing that's, I guess, a bit of an issue with that is if you're on a tilt and the water isn't draining the right way round. Yeah.
But yeah, getting the recirculating shower in will be a big upgrade because then obviously we'll be able to have really nice long showers. But the other really good side effect is that we won't have to be constantly emptying our grey water tank.
I think once we've got the recirculating shower done, that won't be as much of a problem. But I think even so, the size of the grey water tank we probably would have made a little bit bigger, but it is the size is because originally where we had planned on putting it could only go up to that size, but then we changed where it was, and it could have actually been a bit bigger, so maybe we'll change that out in the future.
Possibly. At least that's a nice easy change.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's been anything, I'm just looking around, I don't think there's anything that just hasn't worked. It's just areas where, having been in it for some weeks now, you sort of see how you could improve it a little bit.
Yeah, so I suppose that leads on to anything we would change at this point. So we've already mentioned about the grey tank.
Yeah.
Probably,
a bigger grey tank, and obviously finishing up all the things we need to do.
Yeah.
It's not really a change, it just needs to be done.
Apart from that, there's not much really, is there?
Really?
Don't know. I mean, it's early days, but possibly a bigger fridge would be helpful.
Yeah, actually,
but it's not.
Possibly, yeah.
It's not a huge bugbear, is it?
We have a 12-volt cool box, which we have in the back, which we sort of use as an overflow fridge.
It's like a drinks cooler.
Yeah, basically. It's a beer cooler. And it works really well for that. And we just have it on a 12-volt plug down there somewhere, which we just plug into the socket there if you want to use it. But yeah, having a slightly bigger fridge would be good. And we probably could have done that because we could have just had slightly smaller drawers. It's not really a problem, it just means we just run out a bit quicker.
And we have to be a bit more mindful about what we buy at the supermarket. I have to try and think of things that will actually fit on the shelves.
Yeah.
So like a punnet of grapes, for example, is difficult to get into anywhere.
That's definitely a change I've noticed from being in the van. We used to always go for maximum value, so you'd get big things and get things in bulk, like a big box of tea bags or something, but now it's gone completely the other way, so we'd actually rather pay more to get less as long as it's smaller. So you're looking at stuff and it's good offer and things like that, but it's just the packaging is too deep and we're like, that won't fit on the fridge shelf.
It's weird way of thinking about it.
So are you enjoying it?
I'm loving it. It's just, it gives you so much freedom, and I don't know, it's just you get to meet lots of lovely people as well, like-minded people. And I'm just excited about what's coming up, really.
And the same for me. It's been really, really nice, actually. I think there was just one moment when we were both packing the van right at the start of this trip where we both we didn't know at the time that we both had the same moment where we were like, are we going to actually enjoy this? And that was when we were trying to get everything into the van, and it felt like we're never going to fit everything in, and it was just too small and stuff like that. But that feeling only lasted for about maybe 15 minutes until we started putting everything away, and then suddenly it sort of became our home. And
everything had its place, didn't it? And suddenly you had this really clean, tidy van with all of the things that you wanted in it, and it just felt, oh, hang on, and this will be fine.
Yeah, and it does feel like home now. It's nice when you come back to the van. Feels like home, and when we're in it and you actually go outside, you sort of forget that you are just in a van. When you see it parked up in a field, it's just a white van, but when you're actually inside it just feels like home.
And it's really nice, like when it's raining or something like that, you get that sort of white noise of the rain on the solar panels and things, don't you? So it just feels really cosy in here, and yeah, it feels right.
Sort of forget actually that you're not just waking up and just building something, you're just using it. Even like looking at things we've got to do now, I'm sort of like enjoying the fact that we've not done them yet, because they're just, putting them off. Yeah. And actually just getting out and enjoying the sunshine, it's been really good. A bit of
chill time. But yeah, in terms of just actually living in it, I suppose you have to keep clean quite regularly, otherwise it's very easy for it to get quite messy in here, isn't it? But we like being tidy, so that's not really a problem, is it?
Yeah, it's when you come in and it's being like wet and muddy outside. Yeah. That is a little bit frustrating sometimes, because it's quite easy. I mean, there's only like the one little step, so we tend to actually leave our muddy shoes in the cab, which is sort of like the dumping ground for extra stuff like that, and try and keep the area by the door here quite nice and free of any shoes and things, because it can get quite dirty in here.
And in terms of sort of moving around and not really knowing where you're going to be next, we quite like that, don't we? Yeah. I think a lot of people wouldn't really like that uncertainty of where you might end up, but
it is nice.
It is nice. What's been your favourite place or parkup?
Favourite place? So that's tricky, because we've been to some really nice places actually.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one, it's difficult. I really like it where we are now actually, this whole area, just because it's just a really nice place to be, and there's so many things you can do around here. But then I've also really enjoyed some of the parkups that having the van has meant we could do that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So the one that springs to mind is, well, I know you said like one, but the one at Pras Sands and the one at Lamorna Cove.
I was going to say Lamorna Cove, because even though a lot of people have a problem with the car park there and they get caught out by the ANPR cameras, I'm hoping that we won't either, we don't know yet. But yeah, being able to stay there overnight, even though there's no facilities, just being able to wake up to that incredible view, and it was nice weather at the time, which helped. But the fact that we went for an early morning swim, and it just...
That's what I liked about Pras Sands, because we were parked up there on the beach. I was able to just go for like a run along the beach, which was really nice, and then come back to the van and just like have a cup of tea and stuff without having to go anywhere. You're already there.
Yeah.
So but then I've really enjoyed the campsites I've been in as well. So the only ones I haven't really enjoyed as much, not that I didn't really enjoy them, but just there's the odd place you've been, like a lay-by, where it's just a place for the night.
But that's going to happen, isn't it? You can't always be next to the beach or anything. That's just the reality of it, which is fine.
It'll be interesting as we go into other places where we transition to being less in campsites and more in just parkups, which we like doing. And there has been some great ones. So
yeah, I think it should be fine. And then lastly, what are our plans for the immediate future? So I think we've taken a little bit of time to do the south coast of Cornwall.
Because we really like it.
We really like it. We're going to carry on round to the north coast of Cornwall, maybe do that a little bit faster than we did this leg. And we also need to fit in there somewhere to do our recirculating shower and just finish off the last few bits on the van that we needed to do. But once we've done that, we are aiming to head up to do the North Coast 500 in Scotland.
Yeah, so Abby actually read pretty much the entirety of the Rough Guides book on the beach the other day, so hopefully she knows some good places to go.
At least it gives me an idea. So yeah, that's the kind of the plan for the immediate future, and then I think once we've done that, we'll make our way over to the continent, up to Norway, and then sort of back down, maybe go to Spain or something like that.
Yeah, that's a loose plan, and it is quite loose, but that's sort of how we like it. Yeah. Just taking each day as it comes, really.
Obviously, we have to plan a little bit in terms of visas and things like that, but that's kind of what we have planned. So, kind of just given an overall view of how it's been going so far.
Maybe we should do something similar, like after some other period of time.
Yeah, we probably should. Once we're like not staying in campsites and we're off grid a bit more, but I think overall we can say we're having an amazing time.
Yeah, it's been really good, and not really anything we'd change, is it?
No, and we don't regret it at all at the moment. So yeah.
Cool. Hopefully it'll stay that way.
Yeah.
Right, well, look forward to seeing you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.